So, welcome to our first social distancing episode of the Shoot to Grill podcast. My name is Jason Bailey. Nate, who always produces the podcast, is Brady Bunch Down. And then with this podcast, it's where grilling meets entertainment. So, our chef is Matty Jones down there, who is grilling virtually from, I'm assuming, your back porch, right?
Correct.
We'll get to what you're grilling in a second. And our celebrity guest is one of my closest friends up there, WWE Hall of Famer, part of the most decorated tag team of all time in professional wrestling, one of the hosts of Busted Open, the radio show on Sirius XM, which, by the way, is the #1 sports show on all of Sirius XM. That's Bubba Ray Dudley, a.k.a. Bully Ray, right there, over there. See, there you go.
Guys, cool. Good to see you. And right off the bat, before we get into everything, I am extremely jealous right now.
Why?
Because I am such a wannabe griller and barbecuer, and I have looked into getting one of those huge smokers. What is that, the Komodo Joe you guys got?
Yeah, we've got the KJ. Matt's got one. I've got one, and also I've got I got a little baby propane over there as well. But yeah.
I have always wanted to do that. I have always wanted to start grilling on them, but I have zero patience. I just want to take it out of the box and just start grilling on it, but I know it takes a long time to learn, and I just don't have the patience to learn. So I'll just come over to one of your guys' houses and, you guys can cook for me.
Actually, that's not true because I've got very little patience as well. You and I are a lot alike like that. But here's the thing, and Matt, tell them what you're going to cook for us on this episode, but also how therapeutic it is. I mean, it really is therapeutic to grill on those things, right, Matt?
Yeah, man. So, like Jason was saying, but it shows you out, which is one of the kind of reasons that I kind of started getting into it. I work in film and TV production is my main gig. So, like you, man, you know how the hours are, man, and it's grueling, right? And you're
right.
Always hurry up. And this kind of gives me a moment to kind of be a little bit more cerebral. And learning is kind of part of the fun, and you get to have kind of your own thing. So for that purpose, I think is really, really great. You'll see some things in yourself that you didn't see by grilling. And he and I are connected, Jason and I are connected because I got hooked up with guys through grilling, and it becomes a brotherhood and a family, man. So it's, trust me, you'll dig it.
Plus, it's always one of those things, Bubba. It's like, you're friends with a lot of the guys in the music business, right? Take Vinnie Paul before he passed. Like, for example, dude, he loved to grill. Like, I talked to the guys like Kyle from Hell Yeah, who lives here in Atlanta, and these guys loves to grill. You always want somebody leaving your house and going, dude, I was just over Bubba's house, and that dude smokes mean meat. I don't know if you want to put it like that. Dude, the food is awesome. Matt, I know you met up with Terry with Atlanta Steak and Seafood.com.
Correct.
Mobile meat, by the way, anybody watching, Terry in the Atlanta, well, actually, he'll ship it out to you, but definitely in the Atlanta area. He'll roll up in his truck like he did my house the other day, like he did with Matt, and he's got the best meats in the back. And, if you're social distancing, don't want to go to the grocery store, he is slammed business-wise. So what did you get, and what are you cooking for us?
All right. So I got what's called verified Black Angus, not regular Black Angus, but verified Black Angus. So that's like the highest Black Angus that you can get, right? So I got some New York strips, 16 ounces. They're beauties. Bubba, I'll ship you one, brother, because you're gonna want this in a minute. Some asparagus, and I'm going to do smashed potatoes today with some, little dressings and stuff that I'm growing at home. So we're at Maybell's back porch. We're going to hang out. I'm going to cook. You guys are going to wrap, and we'll hang out.
Have you guys ever had Japanese A5 Wagyu?
I have.
What did you
think?
I
have not. Too expensive.
It's for me personally, it's a little expensive. But it's butter, dude. It's butter. But it's so decadent. It's one of those things that you got to do it once in your life. But some great prime, some great, Wagyu. I think I'm great with that. Some great Black Angus. I'm good with that.
for about 6 months, I was on a Wagyu kick, and I ordered it from Japan.
Wow.
A5 olive Wagyu, and this is the cattle that's only fed olives from the day it's born until the day they slaughter it, and it's an incredible meat. But what I learned is you can only eat it in small bits. Like if you eat an entire Wagyu steak, like 8 or 10 or 12 ounces, that richness just sits with you like for days in your mouth. It's like eating meat flavored butter. Yeah. So I'm glad I did it. I've had it in a restaurant before. I've made it in my home, but yeah, I'm done with my Wagyu kick.
Yeah, there it is. Like I was saying, it's very, very rich, man. But like you said, you try it once in your life before you die, right? It's
yeah. One of the things, Bubba, when you're talking about these grills and like wanting to get one, now, everybody's, quarantine and just trying to kill some time. You can kill some time on these things. Like we were doing shit around the house today, and Rach was like, we were going to have turkey tomorrow for Easter. And instead we ordered Maryland blue crabs. And she was like, but we got to cook this thing. So I got a turkey, a 10.5 pound turkey behind me. I put it on about 1 o'clock. And like, these are cool. The Green Egg and the Weber's, they all have them too, but there's something called the I command where, you put it in the vent on the bottom, and Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, like it tells me when it's done on my phone. So I literally put it on here like around 1 o'clock. So about 4.5 hours ago, and my phone will give me notifications. So that's pretty damn easy. You just walk away, come back, and it's done, and then serve it up. So you don't have to do too much work on these is what I'm getting at.
You have way more patience than I do.
It's not that bad. That's what Nate says. Nate, you don't like these either, do you? You just come over to my house and eat the food.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind them, but yeah, I don't know about all the accessories and the attachments and stuff. So yeah, it's a whole different world.
Well, when you come over my house, all the food you've eaten here, right, has been delicious.
Oh yeah, it's been fantastic.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, Matt. You want to go ahead and start grilling? I want to talk to Bubba, and then we'll just check in with you from time to time. Set up the camera so we can see what you're grilling. This is what's weird about this podcast, because usually when we do it at Atlanta Grill Company, we have the guest, the chef, Matt. You've been with us. We cook the food, we eat the food, we taste the food. We're gonna have to take your word for it. You're gonna have to eat it, and you're not gonna say your food sucks, obviously, but because it doesn't. But so that's the way this is gonna roll, and this is all part of the quarantine coronavirus world that we live in. So start grilling there, brother, and we'll check in with you. All right.
All right, guys.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Why don't you buy one, Bubba? Just kill some time, dude.
I've looked into it a bunch of times. And one day I'll probably wake up and be like, all right, I got to get myself one of those Komodos, and I'll do it. I'm like really, really old school. My dad used to build his own Sicilian barbecue pits, which was just a big metal box. And then you take meat and you just put it on a metal spike and you just cook it over the charcoal and the coals. And to this day, that's still how I barbecue.
I'm guessing your dad too, knowing your dad for the short time that I did know him, who was a man's man. That guy would go out there, grab the cow, snap the cow's neck, drag it back to the kitchen, and then skin it and cook it himself, probably, right?
It's Easter time right now, tomorrow being Easter. And I remember as a kid being over my uncle's house, and there was a lamb just running around in the backyard. And, as a kid, you're like, oh, wow, look at the lamb. That's cool. Can I go pet the lamb? And my dad was like, yeah, you better go pet him today because he's not going to be around tomorrow.
Yeah. So. One of the best stories, and, Bubba and I, for those who are watching, have known each other for a very, very long time. We talk all the time. I haven't been able to get him on the podcast in person when he's in town for whatever it is that he's in town for. It just didn't work out. So, when I was like, well, we're doing this virtual thing, we'll do it this way. But one of the stories I love to tell, and I've told it on the radio before, Nate, I think you've heard me tell this story about Bubba's dad. So it was a Christmas, and we're at Bubba's house. This is when he was in Florida. I had nowhere to go, I think. I don't know why I was there. But so we had we had dinner, and his dad's cooking, and he's down from New York. And he brought all of the food with him because he just didn't trust anywhere. He's like, I'm bringing fresh seafood, fresh meats with me. So before the meal even starts, the meal's not even my story, even though it was amazing. We get there, and I see his dad pull out 2 octopi, takes them like this, and he puts them in a big pot on the stove, puts a towel over it, and I'm watching the whole time. Everybody's kind of bullshitting, and I'm like, what in the hell is that man doing? 20 minutes later, takes it out, chops the head off, chops up the tentacles, puts it in a bowl, squeezes a little lemon, does a little dash of this, and I'm like, I love octopus. I like never seen it like that. Man, that's pretty damn raw. I couldn't stop eating it. During dinner, I was sneaking back into the kitchen to eat more of it because it was so good. His father was an amazing cook, like the best dad cooking guy ever in my entire life in America. Your dad was awesome.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and I remember that. I actually have a picture of him in my phone somewhere of him holding up those 2 octopus just like this before he put them in the pot of boiling water. And I believe that Christmas was the last Christmas that my dad was around.
It was, yeah.
And the sauce, the red sauce, the marinara that he made that night, I kept frozen in my freezer for like an extra 6 or 7 years because it was the last pot of sauce that me and my dad ever made together. Then once I moved out of Florida, I took it out, and man, that was a disgusting mess 7 years later. But yeah, good memories, good times, good story.
Yeah, I always remember that because I can still taste that octopus. I was like, that is absolutely amazing. So you're no longer in Florida. You're up in the northern part of the country now, living there, and
he's using duck fat. Reminds me of Tommy Dreamer.
Is that what you're spraying? You're not spraying that on there. Is that duck fat?
Duck fat.
Yeah, it is duck fat.
Why are you using that, Matt?
Oh, has such an incredible just pop of flavor that kind of seals it in. Like, I love making duck fat fries, duck fat chicken. Has a higher smoke point than olive oil does, so it's great on the grill, man. Trust me, they sell it at Atlanta Grill Company. They'll ship it to you.
Is it healthy? No.
Yeah, great product.
No, not healthy.
No.
Hey, Matt, before we start, what do you can you give us a shot of the grill for these steaks, and what's the temperature and what rack do you have them on?
Let's see. Sorry, I'm on my laptop. So I'm at about 600 Steakhouse. I'm using, hold on, let me make sure I can do this safely. I am using see if we can see that. I got the potatoes on the half cast iron, and I have the asparagus just on the regular grate. I got them on the top level right there. You see they're already kind of starting to smoke and get going in there. This is the Classic 2. This was my first KJ. I call her Josephine. That was my grandmother's middle name. I've got a Classic 3 downstairs, and then I got this one up top. So, 2 different decks, 2 different things.
Yeah, so when you get the veggies off and you'll put the steak back on, you're just going to, I'm assuming, sear it for about 90 seconds on the cast iron, flip it, and then move it to the side.
You got it, man. Exactly.
I'm learning, dude. I'm learning. Yeah, I'm learning.
Maybe even 120 because they're thick.
Yeah.
So.
I did pizzas last night.
Oh, nice.
On the KJ. And, dude, Bubba, you got to do pizzas when you get one of these. I mean, literally, you get it up to about 500 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
And they're done in like 3 minutes. And they're so good.
Does it taste better than pizza in my microwave?
A little bit, yeah. just a little bit. So you do the Busted Open show from your house, so that makes things easier for you. But your entire career, you've traveled. You're not used to being at home, definitely as much as you are now. So with the social distancing, is it as strict up there as it is in other parts of the country? And are you going crazy yet?
Well, in the Northeast, obviously the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut area, it's been one of the hot spots. I am being extremely vigilant and doing the right thing. You know, there's so much information out there on the news. You don't know who's right. You don't know who's wrong. You don't know who's giving you facts. You don't know who's spreading fear. So you got to kind of sift through everything yourself and, you know, be smart about what you're doing. I'm taking all of the necessary precautions. Myself and Jamie were, you know, basically on lockdown. If I have to go to the grocery store or the pharmacy, I go, hand sanitizer, mask, taking all the necessary precautions. But I'm not going that crazy. It's not that bad. And as far as my schedule was concerned, I've tapered off through the years. So, I mean, there was a chunk of my life when I was on the road 300 days a year for like 10 years. And then I was probably on the road, I'd say, like 200 days a year for 8 years, and then probably 100 days a year. And it slowly tapered off. And now doing the radio show, I get to do it from home in my home studio that Busted Open set up for me. So it's not horrible, but I do get stir crazy. I'm like a great white shark. If a great white shark stops swimming, he'll sink to the bottom and die. Tommy Dreamer, he's more like a beluga whale. I'm more like a great white shark. So yeah, I got to get out of the house at least once a day. And that was my one gratuitous Tommy Dreamer fat joke. Actually, that was the second one because the duck fat reminded me of Dreamer. Like one time I was in a ring with him and I had him in the corner and I wanted him to move out of the way. So I said, duck fat. Boom. See?
Well, you know, being on a podcast that deals with food, I mean, we're just getting started, so you probably have at least 4 or 5 more Tommy Dreamer fat jokes in here.
Most likely.
Yeah, let me open mine up so you can see the big ass turkey back here. When you watched WrestleMania, and you saw the way that they've done it, like how AEW is shooting their stuff and other promotions. Well, actually, I think only AEW and WWE are in business right now. Everybody else is kind of shut down, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So what did you think of the no crowd camera angle, living to the quarantine days of wrestling?
There's a line in the movie Full Metal Jacket where one of the commanders says it's a giant shit sandwich and we're all going to have to take a bite. And that's kind of the world we live in right now. And that's the world of pro wrestling. But you got to give the WWE and AEW credit because look at all of professional sports and entertainment. Everything is shut down. No sport is up and running. No movies are being filmed. No TV shows. Nothing is going on. I mean, we've come to a dead stop except for the world of pro wrestling. I mean, there are 3 constants right now in the world of wrestling. You have the WWE, you have AEW, and you have, you know, our show, Busted Open. You know, we're on 6 days a week. You know, Monday Night Raw on Mondays, NXT and AEW on Wednesdays, and then SmackDown on Fridays. Pro wrestling, especially the WWE product and the AEW product, is a TV product. You don't necessarily need to have a crowd there. You're really performing to the people in their living rooms at home. Yeah, without the 20,000 people in attendance, you lose that feel, you lose that ambiance, you lose the highs and the lows, the cheers and the boos. But for this really odd time we're living in, you don't need it to still put on a product. So I've been singing the praises of the WWE and AEW since this whole lockdown and quarantine started, because I think they're being extremely careful and still putting out entertainment for wrestling fans to enjoy. And people that are not wrestling fans, because if you're just sitting home one night of the week, just flipping through the TV and you come across wrestling, hey, it's something different. It's something, you know, that you might not have watched before, and you have a chance to watch it now. So I think they did a great job with WrestleMania. I was entertained by WrestleMania, and I hope WWE and AEW keep entertaining wrestling fans around the world.
Do you think it was harder for the veteran guys or for the newer guys to perform in front of a no crowd?
I think it was equally difficult, but in different ways. I remember a couple of weeks ago, Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Undertaker being on Monday Night Raw and then coming to the ring. And I could see the look on their eyes, in their eyes, Steve Austin and Taker have been around for 30 plus years, but just by looking at them when they went out there in that performance center with not a soul there, you could tell that for the first time in both of their illustrious careers, this was something new. They had never experienced anything like this before. So I could tell that it was very different for veterans like Austin and Undertaker. And then you see a complete novice, like a girl like Rhea Ripley, who performed, with Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. And I thought they had the greatest match of the two nights. I think it was probably a little bit more difficult for the veterans. The younger wrestlers seemed to adapt to it a little bit better. I give a lot of credit to the guys that were in that ladder match, because imagine having to have a ladder match, putting your body on the line, having to get all hyped up for a match that you're going to take a lot of big falls, a lot of big bumps, going to get hit with that steel ladder that's very unforgiving, and do it in front of no people. I mean, I've been in a bunch of those matches. That's kind of what, me and, my partner Devon were known for. And I couldn't imagine going out there and not being able to feed off an audience and feed off the fans and that rush. Because when you hear those people, it's an instant shot of adrenaline. So I give these guys and girls a lot of credit for what they did.
Yeah, I would think that for the veterans, it would have been tougher because, I've always heard you say it. When I listen to Busted Open, you talk about it, the passion and feeding off of the crowd, and the guys and girls that have been around for a while, they're going to ad-lib stuff based off of the crowd. And tell me if I'm wrong here, but that's the way that I've heard it, at least I think. And so the newer guys and girls that are training at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando at Full Sail, they're used to that small kind of setting. And actually a lot of it was taped there. So they were kind of in their own backyard. So they were brought up in that world. So I was wondering that. I'm like, I bet you, because I didn't see WrestleMania, I just saw little clips. I'm like, I bet you the newer dudes and girls were like, oh, this is just like what we trained for all along. I was reading an article the other day that said 72% of Americans will need a vaccination for the coronavirus before they go back to any sporting event. Do you think wrestling fans will go back to the live events when they're allowed to faster than any other sport?
Wrestling fans are very, very loyal. They're very passionate. I think they're going to want to flood back to events, but I think that fans of football and baseball and any sporting bag, movie theaters, roller skating, you name it, I think that our country is going to want to flood back to all of these things that have been taken away by us. But we got to be very, very careful. Listen, the projections were pretty high. Now the projections are a bit lower. We're really not sure about the exact way of how do you get it. I mean, I know we're a little bit more confident about how this thing is transmitted, but I don't think anybody has completely pinpointed. Is it going to come back? Is the person that I'm standing next to safe? I think we're going to have to give this about a year and be really, really smart for, 12 to 18 months about where we go, who we, socialize with, how close we get to one another. And I think it's horrible because I think technology has brought us farther apart. And now because of this virus, it seems like we have to stay even farther apart. And I know personally, like when I see my friends, like the first available day that I'm going to be able to see my friends and we're going to go to our favorite bar or restaurant and have drinks and food. I haven't seen my buds in a long time. Am I going to want to hug them? Well, of course I'm going to want to hug them. Am I going to? I don't know.
No, probably not. It's weird, dude. I walk up and down my streets, right now, go out and, you'll have that. It's like you're playing social chicken. You'll see them about 20 yards up the street and, they're thinking the same thing you're thinking. Who's going over to the other side of the road? And I'm thinking like, look, unless you're British, get your ass over because this is what we do. We go this way, you go this way. Mm-hmm. So, it's fun to kind of screw with them a little bit. You can kind of do a little juke and go sideways and then come back in. There's even something called, what was it called, Nate? Couple couple spreading. We were talking about it on the radio. There was a couple spreading.
Yeah, when they're holding hands.
Yeah, when people are holding hands and they're walking next to each other, you're like, dude, there's only so much room. Get your ass over. You don't have to hold hands in this world.
I see you.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Matt, are you done?
I'm not done yet, man. I'm checking the clock right now.
I thought you might be done. Nate, are you drinking beer? Usually you are, or high.
Yeah, I'm actually, I went to this distillery and they have to-go drinks. So I got a White Russian, but I'm out now. So I'm probably switching to beer.
Oh, okay.
White Russian. Ooh, that's brutal on your stomach, isn't it?
I was like, it's Saturday.
it's always Saturday.
White Russian.
That's right. You're having a White Russian. Matt's wanting us to check out his Black Angus. It's verified, but hey, Bubba, if you were, if Vince McMahon called you today and said he's got a match for you in a storyline, would you go back in the ring while this coronavirus thing's still around?
Yeah, as long as I knew that I was healthy and the people that were going to be there were healthy, I would have no problem with it. There are some people that are up in arms about the wrestling business still going on, like, oh, how could they do this? You know, it's so wrong. And the way I look at it is this, is, you know, Vince McMahon and, you know, Tony Khan have companies to run, and these companies have contracts with, you know, stations to put out new content every week. And if they have a large talent pool, if the WWE wants to still run shows, they're going to reach out to their independent contractor talent who can say no at any time and say, hey, listen, we want you to work. Now, if that talent doesn't feel safe, they could just turn around and say no. I mean, Roman Reigns did it. You know, Roman has leukemia. He has an underlying disease. He couldn't put himself in this situation. And from what I just heard recently, Goldberg had said in an interview that up until the last second, Roman was actually considering doing this. Even after the match between Braun Strowman and Goldberg was taped, they were going to redo the match with Roman. But Roman found out that somebody in the building or something to that effect, or one of the crew guys had the flu. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. Now, this is according to Goldberg. If Vince would call me and said, hey, Bubba, I want you to come in, you know, tomorrow, and I want you to work with Braun Strowman. First thing I was asking him is, how many people are going to be in the building, and are they all going to be checked, and are the correct precautions going to be taken? If the answer is yes, and the money is right, why wouldn't I do it?
Right. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people, professional athletes. I've just read different articles, and whether it's the NFL and they're just training, or Major League Baseball, obviously nothing's happening there, but it just depends on, I guess, how you feel about it. Some people are like, nope, I'm going to wait until I get the green light. But who the hell knows when we get the green light? That's another thing is, okay, so like here in Georgia, our shelter in place has just been extended till the 30th of April. What happens May 1st? I mean, I think some people think it's just business as normal, but it's not going to be, man. It's, you know, I think handshakes are done. I think working remotely, I don't even think fist bumps are a thing, man. It's going to be weird. Maybe elbows, Nate. I have no idea. Maybe we'll adopt the bow. I think the masks. Remember when we used to laugh at all those Chinese people wearing those stupid masks, walking around like, what the hell are you doing? Dude, we're going to be wearing masks now. You know,
I've been going to Japan for 20 years. So I'm used to seeing people walking around with masks. And, you know, the Japanese, who are a very polite culture, if they were sick, they would cover that. They were the ones who were wearing the masks because they didn't want to get the rest of society sick. They weren't wearing masks so they wouldn't get sick. They were already sick. So they were always trying to do the right thing. So I'm used to seeing people walking around with masks. Now, just today, I went to the grocery store, and I think 98% of the people that I saw at the grocery store were wearing masks, including myself. And you know what? If it's what you got to do right now to make sure you're safe, then so be it. You know, Nate, it is what it is.
Nate, would you wear a mask every time you went out?
I actually have been recently. I got some of the disposable ones, and then I have like a normal one. And at first I felt kind of silly, but when you see everybody else doing it, you know, you don't feel as silly. But like what you were saying with the Chinese people wearing the mask, I never realized that it was more to protect yourself than others. And I think this whole pandemic made us realize, oh, they're actually protecting everybody else rather than trying to protect themselves. And I had no idea.
I saw the other day, actually, Friday, yesterday, I saw, I went to Lowe's to pick something up. I ordered, and they have it ready. You drive up, they put it in your truck, bam. And as I was waiting, I'm watching these people go in and out of the store. And I was shocked, not necessarily by how many people were in the masks, but by the elderly people not wearing them or the gloves. Dude, if I'm over 60, you put me in one of those hamster balls and roll my fat ass around the aisles because I'd be terrified. They weren't wearing a thing. Like they were just there touching shit, licking fingers, playing their face, hair, and all that. That's crazy. If I'm over 60, I am not doing that, huh?
One of the things that I'm trying to be very aware of is the fear, especially the fear that's propagated through the media, whether that's, Twitter, the news. Everywhere you turn, it seems like somebody's trying to scare you. And the way it seems is a lot of people are going to get this thing. And you know what? All four of us may have had it already. And it just passed through us. And our own immune systems fought it off and it's gone. And one of the things that I think people really need to do is take better care of themselves and their immune systems. Like for years, I've been on vitamin C, on zinc, on astragalus, on oregano, on allicin, which is the oil that comes out of garlic. Listen, I come from an old school Italian family. I remember my dad and my uncles tell me, you want to live to be 100, eat one piece of garlic every single day. And one of the best things that you can take is called allicin, ALLICIN. It's the oil, the juice that comes from garlic. If you got something going on in your system, garlic will kill it off. Now, am I saying that garlic is going to kill Corona and COVID? No. I'm talking about using the garlic in conjunction with everything else to help build up your immune system. Because if you got a strong immune system, man, that's like having like the armor of God, protecting you. And that's the best thing you can do for yourself.
That's a Three's Company episode right there. Bubba's in one room on the phone telling me or Tommy Dreamer or whoever he's talking to, dude, you've got to eat allicin. I ate allicin last night. Jamie's in the other room going, what did you just say? You son of a bitch. What was the other thing you said before allicin? What was it? You said oregano and something else.
Astragalus.
What's that?
I don't know.
No. How do you get it? What is it, a pill?
Health food store. These are all these things you put in you that help to boost your immunity.
Yeah.
And that's what people can do for themselves. You want to give yourself the best opportunity to fight this Corona thing if you do get it. And if you believe everything that you hear, which you shouldn't, but it seems like a lot of people are going to get this thing. But so many people are surviving. If you turn on the news every day, all you hear about is death, 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 death. Because if it bleeds, it reads and it leads.
Right.
And then, by the end of the show, they throw in that, hey, 1,000 people are dead, but 100,000 survived. And I think that's the light at the end of the tunnel. I think that's the promising thing, that so many people are going to get through this. And the best thing that you can do is prepare yourself.
Did you do any panic shopping, load up on anything?
I put in an order with Omaha Steaks. I ordered like 50 pieces of chicken, 50 pieces of, pork chops, 50 steaks, threw them in the freezer just in case. And now if I go out to the grocery store and if I see some toilet paper or some paper towels you can't find any more rubbing alcohol or sanitizer. But if I see things, I just pick them up, because whether I use them now or I use them later, I'm still going to always have to use them. But no, I didn't wait on lines that wrapped around block after block. I'm not a sheep. I just can't do it.
Nate, you didn't stock up on anything, I don't think, did you? You actually kind of were SOL and stuff.
Yeah, not real. I mean, we got some like dry goods that, will last a while just in case, but we didn't go and ransack the meat section. But if you go to the grocery stores today, it is slam packed because everybody is, shopping for Easter and everything. So everything is shut down, but the grocery stores are the parking lot's full, and it's just insanity right now.
Well, I got screwed on the Easter thing. Like Rach, the other night says to me, hinted that, the Easter Bunny's bringing me new sneakers. I was like, oh shit. I was like, don't I get a pass and not have to do anything for you for Easter? I was like, I can't go anywhere. It's like, but I guess my dumb ass could have gone to Amazon, 2 weeks ago and ordered something. So, her being, good mom took care of Ariel. And I'm like, man, I'm going to look like an asshole tomorrow because I didn't do anything. But you get like a quarantine pass, you're just like, it's like everything, nothing needs to happen right now. If it's your birthday, sorry, wedding, sorry, you're not getting shit for me. What's that, Matt?
I had a wedding planned, dude, and it's not happening.
Yeah. It's just can't happen right now.
Get Rach some Allison.
Yeah. Babe, you want some Allison? Bubba says it's the deal.
Yeah,
you want to eat some Allison?
The dark, she says she'll do it.
I'll pass.
The dark side of the ring, which is one of my favorite things on TV, on Vice. For those that don't know what it is, it's kind of like a docuseries type of show. It's in its second season. Whether you're a wrestling fan or not, it tells the story, the darkest side of the story of certain, professional wrestlers. You obviously, Bubba, have watched all of them, and you probably knew even more than what was put on television with a lot of them. Do you think that they're all pretty spot on? They've done a good job, their homework?
I think they've done a really good job on all of them. I know that Evan Husney, who's been a guest on Busted Open, really tries to do as much homework as possible. And you can never tell the Chris Benoit story unless you're doing it in a very tactful, factual way, because people would be all over them. So a lot of the subjects that they tackle, they have to really be careful about what they're saying and who they're speaking to, because they don't want to come off like they're trying to glamorize or, overindulge, things like the Chris Benoit situation where, him taking his own life is horrible, but he took his wife's life and his son's life, which is, horrible to the next level. So I have not come away from any of these episodes thinking, oh, they did somebody wrong, or I don't agree with them on this. The Benoit episode was interesting, but they just did an interview with, I think Jim Cornette just did an interview with Kevin Sullivan, who was Nancy's first husband, or maybe even her second husband. And he wouldn't do the episode because he just felt that it wasn't right to speak about this. And he also felt that there were a couple of parts of the episode that were inaccurate, or whoever was speaking about a certain moment in time got their story wrong. So I'd love to talk to Kevin one day and see exactly what his side of the story is. And I'm friends with Kevin Sullivan. And I've seen him a couple of times over the years, but I've never want to have that conversation with him just because I know it's such a sensitive subject with him.
Well, they talk about in the episode how, he was abusive, so, I mean.
According to him, no.
Right.
According to him, she could have been the one to initiate the physicality.
Right.
Who knows?
What about I know they've got one coming up, depending on when everybody's watching this, with Jimmy Snuka. What's a story in professional wrestling that has not been told under the umbrella of what the dark side of the ring does that you think would be good TV that people should know?
I'm not really sure when you put me on the spot like that, nothing immediately comes to mind. I'm sure if me and you talked about it, we probably can come up with something. I think an interesting story in pro wrestling would be about steroids.
Just getting ready to say, I was going to say the Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon, the steroid trial in the early 90s.
I think the story has been told once or twice, like by 2020 or NBC or somebody has touched on it. That steroid trial is a big thing. Personally, listen, professional wrestling is sports entertainment. It's no different than Cirque du Soleil. Do they test people at Cirque du Soleil for taking steroids?
No.
Why? The whole steroid testing, I mean, if the government says it's okay to poison and destroy your lungs with cigarettes and poison and destroy your liver with alcohol, if I want to poison and destroy my muscles with steroids, I should be allowed to.
Well, even a better argument would be Hollywood, because those actors juice, and I say this, all the time, like there's a difference between a synthetic and then testosterone. So, you see a lot of athletes that are, trying to get a couple more years. They still have the talent. Steroids doesn't give you talent. Steroids just gives you strength. I mean, you still have to be talented, intelligent, and all that good stuff. So just because you're taking steroids doesn't mean Barry Bonds, when he juiced, or Mark McGwire, when he juiced, yeah, they were stronger. They could hit the ball farther, but they still could see a 98-mile-per-hour fastball and the seams coming at them. So anyway, I agree with you. I think that there's a big difference. Like Lance Armstrong with the blood transfusion, he's not juicing. He's not going to get jacked or ride a freaking bicycle. He just wants his testosterone level at his age to be the same as a 22-year-old that's in the Tour de France. Why shouldn't it be the same level as that kid if medically he can do that, right? Wrestling, professional wrestling, dude, the 90s especially, you just wanted to see these jacked up G.I. Joe action figure looking dudes. That's your draw. You're right. It's not it's not baseball. It's not the NFL. I couldn't agree with you more on that.
There are two substances in particular that I don't even really personally classify as steroids. If that makes me ignorant, so be it. But we make testosterone as men. We make growth hormone. We make them naturally in our body. So I believe that every male, once they get to the age of 40, should be able to take testosterone and growth hormone. But testosterone and growth hormone keep you young, and they keep you vibrant, and they keep you out of the doctor's office and off of pharmaceuticals. And that's why people don't want, big pharma doesn't want you on this stuff. Most of Hollywood is on growth hormone. How do you think guys like Stallone look so good at their age? Growth hormone is like the fountain of youth. And I can't understand, other than obviously the almighty dollar, why men especially shouldn't be allowed to take it when our body produces it, naturally, and it tails off as we get older.
Well, it's the guys that stack that, just destroy their bodies. I mean, if you have a doctor that's telling you how to juice properly with a legit steroid or testosterone, you're not going to, all those things that everybody talks about, it's just not going to happen. Nate, you juice all the time still, right? I mean, now, you're right, you're juicing all the time still.
Yeah, doing that Winnie,
Winnie V.
Yeah.
You should, hey, Bubba, you should have seen Nate. Like when Nate used to wrestle in high school. He's from Iowa, right? So he's one of those Iowa wrestlers. And so you see some of the pictures of Nate jacked. He looks like Rick Martel back in the day,
Wow.
Yeah, just like, that G.I. Joe looking perfect, jacked up dude. And then he moves to Atlanta. I hire him. And I hadn't seen him for like ever. And he was fat, like huge fat. Like it was ridiculous how
like
fat.
Like Tommy Dreamer fat?
Oh my God, even worse. I had never seen him. He was just like,
And yeah, I did. I wrestled freestyle, folk style in high school, and a little bit in college. And actually one of the camps that I went to in high school, Brock Lesnar was one of the instructors. So it's funny to see where he is now. But yeah, I mean, I got on those Orlando pub crawls and, just put on that beer weight.
But then he gets an endorsement for like some diet place.
Yeah, quick weight loss thing.
Like in 3 weeks, he's back to G.I. Joe Nate. You know, I was like,
Oh yeah, I lost like 50 pounds in like, a couple of weeks.
yeah, it's pretty funny. How those steaks coming, Matt?
We're done.
We're done. Let's see them, brother.
All right, let's see how we can do this. Maybe I got to tilt the camera.
Wow.
You can see. So those are those
That's awesome.
Black Angus, grilled asparagus with a little blood orange dressing. So
Let's see it in the middle. Let's see it in the middle, Matt. Can you get close to see the meat? Is it medium rare?
yeah, it's pretty rare. I did some half and half. Some are rare, some are medium.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on what you like, so people can kind of see. It's why I put them back on.
Maddie, how do you like your meat?
I like mine kind of close to medium, but no more than that. Like,
Yeah, medium rare.
yeah, medium rare.
Yeah. So the thing with the
for me.
steaks, and there's like a million different ways to cook it, right? And you can
Right.
easily screw it up. So like when you get the KJ up, what you said you had it about 500, 600 degrees steakhouse temperature.
Steakhouse temperature, yep.
And then, you know, how they get you is they sell you all these different attachments for the KJ, you know, so you can come just a normal griddle that it comes with. Or you can tell me if I'm off here, Matt, but you can change the level of, like, you could put the griddle down closer to the briquettes, and then you could put one up. So you could go sear down low,
Correct.
bring it up top. Right.
Correct. Reverse sear, yep.
Right. Or you can get the cast iron. I've got the cast iron, kind of what you were just using on one
Mhm.
side. Sear it and then take it off to the side. And then when I'm done, especially if I'm trying to be a fat kid, I'll brush it with some butter, some garlic butter.
Yep. Unfortunately, due to COVID, like I like to use it's a local company that does banner butter out of ATL, but you know it's a little hard to find right now. But that's my favorite.
So outside of the grilling of the steaks, he hasn't said this yet. He's being modest. Bubba cooks a really good steak the first time, and he does it in the oven. And the first time that I had a Bubba cooked steak, this is when we first met. So I was still like, I'm over at Bubba Ray Dudley's house. We're like kind of friends because he invited me to his house.
Right.
And I'm sitting at his kitchen table, and these steaks come out, and they're like, looks amazing. We have this nice dinner. It's cooked as dinner. And he's hovering over his food like this. And, you know, I don't say anything, but it's kind of odd. It's kind of, you know, it's a little uncomfortable, to be honest with you. And he looks up at me and he goes, "You know why I do this?" I'm like, "No, why?" "Because that's how we had to eat in prison. We had to cover our food, make sure nobody take our food."
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. I didn't go to prison. You remember that?
I did some hard time, brother. Hard time.
You remember that night when you cooked those
Yes.
steaks and you said that?
Yes.
So you like you're actually a really good steak cooker, Bubba. So, but you're not the grill guy, but you do it in the oven. How do you do it?
Broil it.
Yeah.
Actually, I have gotten a little better. What I like to do is I like to make prime rib. And I'm sure cooking a prime rib on the KJ, it probably come out incredible. But what I do is I'll get a USDA prime, and I'll have it trimmed up nice, probably like 5 ribs. And then I take something I'm sure you guys are familiar with. It's Montreal steak seasoning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A full bottle of Montreal steak with Grey Poupon. Mix it all together. Completely coat the entire prime rib.
Mm-hmm. Let
Let it set. And then a half an hour at 500 degrees to get that sear. And then drop it down to, 325, probably, for 12, 13 minutes a pound. And I really, really like the way it comes out. I'm a big prime rib fan, especially that bone meat. I'm a big fan of the bone meat right when it comes out of the oven.
You like the bone meat after you eat Allison, right?
Yep. A good piece of bone meat right after you eat Allison, it's the best, brother.
Matt, how would you cook up the prime rib on the KJ?
So last time I did it with the Joe Tisserie.
Yeah.
Kind of same thing he does. I do it with spicy or deli mustard, full garlic cloves, kind of, put some in, fresh rosemary, thyme, little red wine, and then just put the coals, the charcoal to the back, let the Joe Tisserie do its thing, man, and kind of just damn near caveman style right over that open flame. It's nice. Like he said, same thing, about 12, 13 minutes per pound, depending on. Now, the only thing I would say differently when you're over the flame is when you're French them like that, it's probably pretty good to put a little tin foil on the edges of the bone just so you don't burn those up.
Sure.
You know, especially if you care about presentation.
Have you ever made anything sous vide style?
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Love sous vide. Yeah, I have the what's the white one called? The Jewel. I have the Jewel.
Okay.
What is that? What is sous vide style?
So sous vide, in loose terms, is a loose interpretation of French, means under bath or underwater. So you cook like a steak for maybe an hour or so, and about, I don't know, what is it, 35, 75 degree water, right? And then you put it in a hot searing cast iron skillet for like just enough to brown it, some butter, some garlic, or whatever it is that you like. Man, it literally is honestly one of the best steaks you've ever had in your life. And I love putting them on the grill, don't get me wrong, brother. But a sous vide steak is damn near close to perfect. It really is.
So Jason, if you sous vide an entire prime rib, like if you make a regular prime rib, you know how when you cut into it, like the middle will be pink, but as you get farther out, it gets a little darker. The sous vide style of cooking is if you submerge that entire prime rib, you seal it in like an airtight plastic wrap, and then you submerge it in this heated water. When you take that prime rib out, it is completely evenly colored from edge to edge. So if you want medium, every single piece of that prime rib will be medium. If you want well, every piece will be well. It's the most even style of cooking I've ever seen. What about you, Matty?
Chef Thomas Keller, who's one of my favorite inspirations, can't be wrong, from the French Laundry. It's one of the proponents of it for many years in America. It's great, man. I did some duck legs that I got from the farmer's market. I did them probably about 12, 13 hours. Literally, man, fall off the bone.
Did you do that for somebody, or did you just do that for yourself?
Oh, me and the lady. Yeah.
Oh.
She benefits.
She's like, I'm hungry. Well, I want to try something. I'll feed you in 13 hours.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much.
Go snack on some cheese and crackers until I get around.
Have some brie until tomorrow. You'll be all right. It'll be worth it.
That's funny. Yeah, I was before we started doing this episode of Shoot to Grill, just on my phone, because I get some wrestling news that pops up. It said that lists the best 90s wrestlers of all time. Do you want to take a guess, Bubba, who you think number one was?
Ooh, 90s.
The best. Where did you find this? Like, is this a Sports Illustrated thing? Is this a dirt sheet? What website? What?
It comes across like this app called Smart News. So it's probably like one of the cage side seats or something like that.
So it's an opinion thing.
Oh, I'm sure it has to be. Yeah.
So best wrestler of the 90s?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be Steve Austin or Bret Hart.
Yeah. It was, here it is. Actually, it was Stone Cold Steve Austin, 1:37 p.m. I've never even heard of that before. And Steve Austin was number one, but Bret Hart, who was like one of my favorites, he wasn't like that. He was number 16, and Goldberg was number 2. Which I was like, The Undertaker number 3, The Rock 4, Shawn Michaels 5, Triple H 6, Big Show 7.
We know you're Goldberg at number 2's got you shaking your head. But Goldberg is one of the greatest homegrown talents from match 1 until, just the other night at WrestleMania that was ever created. I mean, this is a guy who just went out there every single time, and he was a great example of good booking meets the right guy at the right time. And they came together, and, I mean, he was a superstar. I mean, 40,000 people showed up in Atlanta. you know, in your backyard at, you know, where you sent me a piece of the chair from that arena.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
where the Falcons play.
Yeah, when they took the dome down. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing personal against them. It was just, you know, as a wrestling fan, you know, I was always a WWF guy, you know, and most people were. And then when the WCW came along, then I became a fan because of the NWO stuff. That was just cool. And I was always a Scott Hall fan, which, by the way, not so much anymore because he fucking big leagued me at DDP's house over Christmas. Was that Christmas?
Yeah.
I was like,
Are you serious?
Dude, every year I go to Dallas's house for his Christmas party.
He hugged me really tight.
Every year, Scott Hall's there. Every year, I don't talk to him just because I don't know what else to say other than, hey, yo, or, you know, like I would be a total mark. I have like nothing to say to the guy and he knows it's coming. I know what it's like. I'm in the business. I get it. Not wrestling business, but I get it. So I just keep my mouth shut. I don't say anything and just wait for that weird situation. This was the night I text you about that MJF dude, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So we're at the Christmas party and there's Scott Hall again. And I'm like, you know what? It's been 4 years. I'm going to say hi to the dude. So I know, really, right? So Dallas is like, hey, let's all get a picture or something. He brings me, you know, he's like, oh, he's me. And then Scott Hall grabs Rachel like really tight. And like, I'm not even there. Like, I just don't even exist. And I go, hey, you know, hey, Scott, how you doing? I'm Jason Bailey. You know, I'm friends with Dallas. I was like, I see you every year. I just don't say anything. I was such a huge fan, man. I was a big fan. It's a pleasure to meet. I'm like, oh, really, dude? Just looking off in outer space. I was like, what an ass.
He didn't even say hello?
No, he's just like, oh, thanks. It was like, I was treated like, you know what I was treated like, Bubba. I was treated like that guy. You know, I was like,
that's it. That guy.
I was that guy. I was just another dude that was a fan. I was not special that night at all. I was very disappointed. Oh, this is what else I said to him. I go, this might have been my fault, actually. I don't know if you remember this, but in 1995, you were working out at World's Gym in Oviedo, Florida, and it was right before Hulk Hogan turned heel at the Ocean Center, and I went up to you. You were in the squat machine, and I was still in college at the time, trying to get in all this information as fast as possible. And I asked you, I was like, hey, can you tell me who the fourth member of the NWO is? I think I have a guess. Who do you think it is? Is it Yokozuna? Huh, you're just going to have to wait and see. You remember that time at all? No.
So I'll go back to how you prefaced that comment. It was probably my fault. Allow me to reassure you. It was your fault.
Why? I mean, look, I was a fan. I had a good story.
But he's at a Christmas party.
So
and yeah, I understand that. But he's at a Christmas party and you're approaching him like every Tom, Dick, and Harry fan who sees him at the hotel, in the airport, blah, blah, blah. He probably wanted to be away from that for a second. He was probably trying to grab your wife's butt.
I was at the Christmas party. I'm a friend of Dallas's, just like he's a friend of Dallas's. You know, he should be a fan of mine for the amazing entertainment I give Atlanta every morning. How do I know he's not a fan of mine? He wanted to mark out for me. Huh. He didn't, by the way.
I was going to say no.
No, he didn't at all. All right. We'll finish things up. Nate, are you drunk or high yet?
I'm getting there.
You're getting there. Okay. You can come over tonight, by the way, if you want, for hot tub and stay 6 feet away if you're interested.
Hot tub time machine.
Yeah, we're doing hot tub time machine.
Wow.
Yeah.
In a hot tub.
Yeah. Gummies might or might not be around.
Who?
Yeah, gummies.
Oh.
Big fans of the gummies here.
I thought she was like a Japanese girl or something.
No. Gummies and Allison might come over.
Yeah, they're friends.
Gummies, Allison's older mother. She just doesn't have teeth. Where do we find this Allison on social media? Maddie J. All right, thanks for cooking. This was a fun episode. It really was. It was interesting. I didn't know how it was going to go. You know, like not usually how we do it for obvious reasons, but it's all good. Thank you so much for doing what you do. Nate will put up everything that you went through as far as how to cook the steaks up on shoottogrillpodcast.com. Thanks to Terry Atlanta Steak.
Terry.
Steaks. Get an S, right? Steaks and seafood.com. Matty J, Maybells, right?
Maybell's Back Porch _ATL at Instagram. It's where you can pretty much find us all the time. Follow us, like us, let us know how we're doing.
Named after grandma, correct?
Named after my grandmother.
Is that your place, Matty?
Yes, Maybell's. Well, that's my pop-ups. I do pop-ups around Atlanta.
So, like, next time I'm in Atlanta, like, I'm always kind of close to the airport or by Center Stage downtown. Are you close to any of those areas?
Yeah, I'm actually just south of downtown. I'm like, have you been to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium? The new one? Have you been there?
I sold it out, brother.
Oh, my bad, brother. No disrespect. My bad. So in other words,
you sold out the dome. You didn't sell out the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's
the Georgia Dome.
My bad.
Yeah, Georgia Dome. Yeah, Georgia Dome. Georgia Dome. That I knew, the Georgia Dome. But yeah, so I'm like 8 minutes from there, literally. So yeah, call me, hit me up, man. We'll do a pop-up. People pop by, and it's a real underground thing.
What's a pop-up?
So pop-ups, man, are usually like if I'll do it at a brewery, I'll do it at a Atlanta grill company. I don't have my own restaurant, which, these days, thank God, to a certain extent. But yeah, we do breweries, community centers, stuff like that.
You also get a pop.
I do farmers markets. I do the Buckhead farmers markets.
Definitely got to check it out.
Yeah, man, appreciate that, brother. Good
I
dude.
get that.
Man.
I said you get a pop. You get a pop up after you eat Allison. Nobody got that? Anybody?
Oh,
all right, never mind.
She wasn't that good because you shouldn't pop up that quick. I'm sorry.
Did you do the tables, ladders, chairs match at the Dome in Atlanta? Is that where you did it? No. Any fond memories of Atlanta from back in the day, Bubba?
The Marriott. The bar at the Marriott at the airport, which was nicknamed the Dungeon.
Why is that?
Can't talk online.
Yeah. The airport Marriott bar was just famous for wrestlers and female fans of wrestlers, and there was always shenanigans going on. So good times.
Who had bigger groupies? Because you've been in every organization. I'm not saying you participated in the groupies, but who had bigger groupies? WWF, WWE, so, into the Attitude Era, anything over in Japan, ECW, WCW, or Ring of Honor. Who had the biggest groupies?
Ring of Honor has a lot of groupies. They're all males.
TNA, I forgot TNA, forgot Impact, TNA.
If you're talking about per square inch, probably Attitude Era WWE.
Like big girls coming.
No, I'm talking about amount of groupies per square inch. And if the big girls were there, Devon would probably be close by.
Devon liked the big girl groupies. What about in Japan? Japan, they're bigger fans in Japan than in the States, aren't they?
They're ultra respectful over there, like all fans. I mean, obviously the female fans, they just every time you come down from your hotel room, they're always there giving you gifts, and they buy you these little tchotchkes and things, and before you know it, you got like an entire bag full of just gifts and whatnots that you're trying to lug home with you, which you only throw out once you get home anyway.
Coolest gift you've ever gotten from a fan?
I don't remember. I don't remember a lot of these things. It's you know what? You know what's weird about wrestling? When you wrestle every single night for so long, you basically rip each day up and throw it away because you're always thinking about something new to do the next day. So like if Kiss performs a tour for 2 years, they're playing the same songs every night for 2 years. Mm-hmm. With wrestling, it's a different match. It's a different city every night. So like once I'm done with that match or that night or that memory, I kind of tear it up and throw it away. I don't remember a lot of things But if I'm talking with somebody and they say, hey, you remember that time? Then it kind of all comes rushing back.
Did you buy your tickets early for the Big Poison reunion tour this summer? Oh, I mean, in Motley Crue and Def Leppard too.
I actually got a phone call the day they went on sale from a friend of mine who said, I just got us 10 tickets for opening night in Miami.
Uh-huh.
And I said, wait a minute. I said, that's a nice gesture because he did it for my birthday. He was going to do it for my birthday. I said, that's a great gesture and all. I go, but opening night is in July. I go, you want to go to an outdoor concert in July in Miami? I'm like, you out of your freaking mind? I'm going to have to bring like 5 T-shirts. I'm going to sweat through every single one of them.
Did you see what I did? I had Dallas on for his yoga, his DDP yoga, and it actually gained some traction nationwide and had him offer up his services to make sure Vince Neil's in shape for the tour.
I saw that.
Yeah, that was my idea. So because when Vince Neil is fat, he sucks. You know, it's the Vince Neil, you know, every third word, he just puts the microphone out there and it sucks. I mean, the last couple of tours were absolutely horrible. But you go because it's Motley Crue and, you know, Tommy and Nikki and Mick, they're busting their ass. And you see this fat little blonde guy wobbling around on stage.
You're horrible. You're horrible.
Missing every third word. And it pisses me off. I'm like, I paid good money to see and hear you, Motley Crue, do Motley Crue. You know, thank God you've got Poison with you because Brett is always in tip-top shape. Never misses a beat. It's always good. Same with Def Leppard. Even Joan Jett, I don't know, Nate, we saw her not that long ago. She
was pretty good.
Tires kicked a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was raining and she slipped and fell on stage, so it was like.
Yeah.
I'm a big Joan Jett fan, and I saw her about 2 years ago, and she kind of just stood in one spot and, you know, got through it. But she was also the opening act for like ZZ Top or something. So, but I was always a big fan. Who do you think got more groupies, Vince Neil or Bret Michaels?
Well, by popularity, of course, Motley Crue. But Brett is
Brett.
I mean, I personally can tell you some pretty actually, here's a good rock and wrestling Bret Michaels groupie story for you.
There was a whole TV show about his groupies, basically.
3 seasons of it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, 3 seasons of pretty much Bret bangs the world, right?
Yeah.
And so
number
one night in Tampa, it was actually Def Leppard and Poison. And I was living in Tampa at the time, and Rock of Love was on. And I go to the show, and Big John was with Brett at the time. I go back after the show, or after his set, get on his bus. Edge is on his bus. Not from U2 Edge, but WWE Edge. And Edge was like out because he was having like knee surgery or something. So he had this like cast on or something. So we're on the bus having drinks. And he goes, hey, let's all go. This was probably the coolest guy move in general, not just rock star, but guy move I've ever seen. I've never seen it played so perfectly. So let's go watch Def Leppard side stage. I'm like, cool, man. Let's go. Let's all of us go. Come on, guys. Let's go. So we go up there. We're watching it. 10 minutes. I look. Brett's not there. He doesn't sit. I don't see him again. So I walk back at the end of the show to say goodbye. Big John's outside of his door. Brett was with these 2 blondes. He wanted to get us out of his trailer, his whatever. That's how he did it.
Smooth.
That was so cool, dude. That was like, it was the nicest blow off I've ever had in my entire life. That's rock star. And you know he's done it a million times to people, right? He was just like, got 2 young blondes with me. Got to get you out. You got to go, but I don't want to be a dick.
I'll tell you one quick Poison story before we're done. It was probably like 2002, 2003. We're performing in, I don't know, it could have been Iowa. It could have been Sheboygan, Wisconsin. It could have been Duluth, bumfuck Idaho. I don't remember. But I remember being in the ring, And after the match is over, I hear some like crazy yelling and screaming and cackling coming from the front row, like enough that on national television in front of 20,000 people, it caught my ear enough where I turned and I looked, and there's all of Poison sitting in the front row, like wearing Poison t-shirts, like, please look at us. So I turned and I was like, oh my God. So I'm a Poison fan. So I was like, this is really cool. They're here to see WWE and, whatever. How you doing? Go back to the dressing room. Me and Devon are in our dressing room, and head of security, guy named Jimmy Tillis, comes knocking on our door and like, hey guys, Bret Michaels and Poison are out here in the hallway and they want to know if they can take a picture with you.
Wow.
And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, tell them we'll be out in 5 minutes.
Nice.
In 2007, did he recognize you when we went up on stage with him?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we did.
I had seen him. I had seen him a couple of times, after that, and he was a fan, and we were just loose acquaintances enough that when we saw each other, it was like, hey, brother, what's going on? And I kind of stayed in touch with that dude, John. I know not as much as you did, but, as time goes on, you lose ways. But if I was in the same room with Bret, and if I walked up to him or whatever, like, hey, Bret, Bubba, WWE, and he'd be, oh, yeah, how you doing, blah, blah, blah.
That night still haunts me.
What a bunch of douche nozzles we were.
Oh, my, me. Nate put it on YouTube, so it exists. It's out there. And Matt, what we're talking about is 2007 House of Blues. It was like 4th of July or 3rd of July or something like that. And Poison's playing, and they were doing this thing like Bret was bringing radio people and fans up for nothing but a good time, and so I got to do it in St. Pete, and I just was horrible. I was like, I got to redeem myself. I mean, I get to go up on stage with Poison and sing or whatever. This is like a childhood fantasy come to life. Right. So this night, they were like, all right, be backstage, last song, nothing but a good time, bringing you out. Bubba's with me. We got a group of people. We're in the loge at the House of Blues, downtown Disney. So I'm like, let's go. And I think he's a lot bigger than me, so he can take his alcohol. I'm a lightweight. I am trashed. I'm also at this time really fat, really pale, wearing pleated jeans for whatever reason, and still thinking Affliction was cool. So check out my foil cross on my shoulder. Go out there, and so it's Poison, me, Bubba comes out, Edwin McCain is on guitar for whatever reason. And then Brad Arnold from Three Doors Down, who I'd met before but wasn't very close with at the time. He's there randomly. And now Brad Arnold, when his rock star thing, every frontman's got a rock star move, right? Brad Arnold's is this. That's his rock star move, right? And he does that because he would hide his eyes because he was always so damn high. And so for some reason, this dumb, stupid, non-celebrity, fat, pale, Affliction-wearing radio person thinks he's bigger than anyone else on stage, right? Everyone around me, they're celebrities. I'm this fat idiot that takes center stage and won't leave it, and a microphone. No idea why. Grab Brad Arnold from the back of the stage, and I pull him up to sing with Bret and I. Later on, years down, I find out that he was kind of pissed off at me for doing that because he didn't know any of the words to the song. All I remember hearing Bubba, who has his own mic, by the way, with Bobby Doll, is like just by himself, like this. All I hear him go, and this was like his first wife years ago, was like, I love you, Fawn, or hi, Fawn, or something like that. What did you say? You said, what's up, Fawn? Or what did you say? You remember?
I have no idea. What I do remember saying on the microphone is like, in the middle of the song or after the song is over, I was so giddy. And just like, I was a child. And I was like, this is the greatest night of my life. What a moron.
I just remembered that, like, it was like everything stopped. It was like Jordan in the zone. And I could hear Bubba's voice and just like, hey, fun, it's Chris, not that. And like nothing, there was no instruments. It was like a cappella. It was like Pitch Perfect 4, the unseen episode, you know? And so, but for some reason I'm in the middle and I wanted to relive the music video. And so Nothing But a Good Time at the end, when they break it down, right. Brett has got the mic stand and he's, right. Yeah. So I'm center stage and they're just like the freaking music video. It sounds just like the video. And I'm nothing in my hand. I'm just like I'm doing military presses. Most embarrassing. I can't watch the video. It exists. It's out there, but I can't watch it.
Oh, as soon as we get off, I'm going to look it up, dude.
Nate will probably send it to you, I'm sure.
You know this, like the new word making the rounds, I guess, is cringe.
Yeah.
This is the definition of cringe worthy. Wow. I don't think I could watch it by myself.
Well, you know, just to continue the embarrassing moments with Bret Michaels, just a couple of months ago, I went up to see him at Harris in Cherokee, North Carolina, and a friend of mine brought me those special gummies, and I was like, just give me the whole thing, man. So we're in the green room. We met up with them beforehand. The like other meet and greet was after the show, but Pete, his guitarist, who I'm real close with, he was like, well, come back in here because Bret wants to say goodbye to you before he does the meet and greet and stuff. Cool. Full gummy. And I'm in there and I am laughing hysterically for 10 minutes over something in my head. I forget what it was. It was just something stupid. I mean, you can imagine. And Rach is like, we need to go. And I said, Bret wants to talk to me. and I'm like, it's business. We got to talk business. We're talking business. And she's like, honey, you don't need to talk business right now. I'm like, no, we're going to do a business deal. You'll see. I met up with him afterwards and I started talking about this idea that I was pitching to him. Oh. It was very reminiscent of, hey guys, let's go watch Def Leppard from side stage. Yeah. So anyway, all right, guys. Look, that was a lot of fun. Actually, this was more fun than doing the oh no.
What oh my God. Nate, I'm gonna fucking crack your skull.
Oh, there's Fat Jason. There's Brad.
Here comes Fatter Bubba.
But you're always your stage left. You come out late for some reason.
Because I was embarrassed by you.
Look at that. Oh my
dude.
God.
Oh
yeah. Wow.
Oh, this is so good. I think I had on a Black Label Society shirt.
Yeah, that button up. I think you did too. The 51. There you come. There you come. There. No, you just had on a black button up, I think.
Oh my God. What a schmuck. Oh no, I had on a black AC/DC shirt.
I gave you that AC/DC shirt.
Oh, there you go.
And you got sunglasses on your head.
What a moron.
Oh, dang, Jason.
Two morons.
Oh my! And look, I won't. And look at that! I'm singing. That was but I won't leave. He doesn't want me there. I know I'm not supposed to be there. What if? Oh.
Wow.
Awful.
Monday through Friday and Saturday, busted open on Fight Nation on Sirius XM, right? Saturday too?
Yep, channel 156.
156, and you guys go from what, 9 to noon? 9 to
well, because of the whole situation that's going on now, we're on from 10 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern time, Monday through Saturday.
Do I get any credit for launching your radio career?
You get all the credit.
Shut up. I was joking.
No, I always knew I wanted to be involved with radio. And then when I saw you involved with radio, and me and you have great chemistry. I think one day in the future, me and you should have a show together.
Remember when I was on the beach and I was like, let's do a wrestling podcast. And that's why I was blown away when you did this wrestling show. And the Busted Open Wrestling Show is a phenomenal program. Like, I've never seen something, not just because I'm a wrestling fan and Bubba and I are friends, but I can look at it, from the outside, from just a fan and also from a radio person. And then I do that sometimes. But it is the voice of an entire community. Like you guys, right place, right time, doing the right things. And I would find it hard to believe that these billion-dollar companies like the WWE and AEW don't listen to you guys to understand how the fans are reacting to their product.
They listen.
Oh, I'm sure.
They listen every single day. It's actually become a running joke because one of the segments that I do on Busted Open, it's called If I Had the Pencil, meaning like if I was writing this, I cannot tell you how many times over the past 2 or 3 years, the ideas that I talk about on Busted Open have been on TV with various different companies. I take it as a compliment because that's just vindication for me that knows that they are listening. And now, fans out there, they'll tweet me, Bubba, they listen. Hey, Bubba, this was your idea. There's so many things have happened. But, getting back to you, I always admired you and your radio career. I always knew that I wanted to do radio. I felt that I always had a face for radio. And, so it's working out. And, but listen, I was always a fan of your show and very entertained. And a lot of the pointers that you gave me in the beginning that I may have disagreed with, like I see now, it's crystal clear. And I even called you the other day and I was like, remember when you were telling me this certain thing? I'm like, you were right. So.
Yeah. Well, you're doing great. The show sounds phenomenal. And I'm really happy for you because, like, to know that show is like the voice, there's a million podcasts out there and, for wrestling, I mean, not just in general, I mean, like we're doing one now. I mean, how do we stick out? Who the hell knows? But there's a million wrestling podcasts out there with, professional wrestlers on the podcast. So what's going to make Bubba Ray Dudley, Bully Ray different than, Taz's podcast or Jericho's podcast and this and that. But I think that wrestling world and podcast has kind of found a way to get, the lower brow guys, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to down them, anybody do the thing, but the cream has rise to the top. And you guys have done that. So it's very cool.
What I'm most proud about is that Busted Open is not just a wrestling show anymore. We've turned into a morning show for wrestling fans and other people. Like we've become these personalities, and we have listeners that are extremely loyal. And in radio, that's, as you know, it's not the easiest thing to do, to keep your people around every single day where they want to listen to your show for 2 to 3 hours, and we've been able to do it. So.
It's tough, man. It's tough. Maddie, thank you. Maybells, love it. Pop up, get your food there. AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Terry, thanks for getting the meat to Matt. Nate, dude, thank you. Whatever you just did there, I appreciate it immensely. Bubba, I'll talk to you soon. Keep up the good work. Stay safe, everybody, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
See ya. Bye.
Peace.
Bye.